Gemini speaks, Gemini speaks, boom, boom, da, boom, boom, da, boom. So what's going on? What's going on? What are we gonna talk about? You know who it is. It's me. Well, there's so many things that go under the umbrella of being a Gemini. I'm going to talk a little bit about how well I get along with other signs. I'm going to start with the obvious, which would be air signs. So I'm an air sign, and we're going to talk about how I relate to other air signs. I'll start with another Gemini. I have no complaints. Other Geminis are just easy peasy, easy to get along with, hang out with, talk to, explore the world with, laugh with, make jokes. It just flows from one thing to the next. Fabuloso. Fabulous. I love it. No complaints at all. I am influenced by my other planets. Just to backtrack a little bit, just in case we forgot, I should have said it before. I should have said it in the beginning. I am a Gemini-Cancer sun. I'm on the cusp, June 21st. My moon is in Pisces. My Venus is in Cancer. My rising is in Leo. Just to get a full spectrum of who I am as a Gemini, from my point of view, of course, as a Gemini. But I'm going to cover all bases, not just me. Air signs, Gemini. It's a great match, no complaints. But I was going to say, when it comes to relationships, they're a little cool. For me, even. But a little bit about what they want, what they need. It's their focus. You know, when you need some sort of emotional compromise, sometimes it's rough. But this isn't like the whole thing. This is like a small part. Other than that, Geminis. Next, Aquarius. Again, a great match. They think outside of the box, which the Gemini appreciates and loves. They are very creative. They're not predictable. They like to go off on their own, and the Gemini is like, hey, I'll see you later. Go off on your own. You'll meet another time. And in terms of love relationships included, Gemini's okay with that. I'm like, yeah, do your thing. I'll be here or wherever, and we'll get back together and continue life together. Very imaginative. But the best thing I think I can appreciate about Aquarius, what they may call Aquamini match, sort of odd, quirky, interesting, unpredictable. You just don't. And for a Gemini, that's like, oh, what are you today? What's going to happen today? That's that affection as a match. Great. Great, great, great. And last but not least, for air signs, I would say Libra. Libras are very user-friendly. They can be very sweet. A little more superficial than maybe I would like, but they're very relationship-oriented out of all of the air signs, which I think is a great thing. They are usually well put together, very attractive. I have no complaints there. I love attractive. I mean, if you know anything about a Gemini, they love things that are beautiful. Beautiful things, beautiful thoughts, beautiful art. Libra is also a little wishy-washy. Like, they're always trying to balance things out, so it's kind of hard to get them nailed down to something specific when you need it sometimes. But I would say, all in all, that is also a pretty good match to hang out with, talk to, have as a partner, lover, what have you. Well, there you go. Those are all the air signs. Gemini to Gemini, Gemini to Aquarius, and then Gemini to Libra. There we go. Next, I'm going to go from the favorites to the least favorites, if I may. The next compatibility group would be fire signs. That would include Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. So we'll start with Aries. Aries, great. They're fun, they're youthful. Gemini is very youthful, so youthful is, you can't complain about that whatsoever. In terms of being open-minded, doing other things, they're great. In terms of just wanting to hang and laugh and do what have you, that's great. The only, I'd say, negative side or less easy side is they're a little aggressive, a little pushy. And the Gemini is actually pretty flexible, so it's not a thing. All in all, no complaints. Aries, good people. Next would be Sagittarius. Hanging out with Sagittarius, no problem. Once again, they're fun, they like to party, like to go places, do things. They're not a couch potato. And that's great. The Gemini loves that. It can be intriguing. It's all good. In a relationship, however, I would not say, from my point of view, they're a great match. I'm not really sure why. They can be a little bit out there in terms of being faithful. You might not get the whole truth, nothing but the truth. They're not lying, they're just not telling you everything. The overall feeling, however, is that you're not a bad match. And last but not least, that would be Leo. I love Leos. They're great to hang out with. Once again, they're pretty open to doing this and that. They're fun to party with. They're easygoing. They're generous. They have a warmth about them. They're passionate, creative. No complaints about Leos, in my opinion, of course, but I am speaking from the Gemini point of view, so I have some idea of what I'm talking about. They are pretty good people to hang with, and perhaps as lovers. There might be some other intricacies, some other issues that come up, but then the other placements and your planets and things like that may be influencing your experience of any of the signs that we've gone through thus far. The next would be water signs. What are the water signs? Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Now I'm going to have to say, this area can be a little sketchy. They might not be emotional enough or vulnerable enough. That might be a little bit of a challenge. However, I will start with Pisces. I get along quite well with Pisces. I have a moon in Pisces, and then again, remember my Venus is in Cancer, so I have a water sign, a very emotional sensitivity to me, so we relate quite well. They also can be very creative, very intuitive, as the Gemini can be as well. So as a match, I have had no complaints about my experience with Pisces. Pisceans are okay with me. Not a problem. Next, Cancers. I have Venus in Cancer, and I think I have a couple of other placements in Cancer. No complaints. They tend to be thoughtful, considerate of others, rather easygoing, not too much drama. Their sensitivity doesn't bother me at all, because although others might not see it this way, but I think the Gemini really tries to keep things rather light and superficial, and so they don't want to argue with you, and they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They want really just to get along, no confrontation, things like that. So from a Cancer Gemini point of view, it seems to be copacetic. Nice match. In terms of lovers, they can be very attentive. They can be very good about keeping the home and having a partnership that makes the home harmonious in the way that the Gemini can appreciate as well. Last but not least, Scorpio. Now, I have a number of Scorpions in my family, and I have had a long-term relationship with a Scorpio. And unfortunately, I do not have good news. My experience with Scorpios have not been very good. They can be mean-spirited. They can be nasty. They can be vindictive. They will plain out just hurt your feelings and tell you, oh, well, it's the truth. So they have the right to tell you what is the truth without any consideration of how they put that truth. They can be very sweet, and certainly I can hang out with them because Geminis really can hang out with anybody. I mean, Geminis can put all that other drama and depth of feelings on the back burner just to interact with you, have a good time, hear what you have to say, disagree, not disagree. It ain't no big deal. It's just a interaction on a very superficial level. But on a more deeper level, I would say Scorpio, in my opinion, for me, has not been the best experience. They're not particularly easygoing. They can be, but they're kind of like, you know. And the Gemini doesn't really like that kind of experience of difficulty, being difficult, being sensitive, and you're not saying why you're being sensitive, but you're getting back at the person instead. And I don't have time for that. So that is the longest, most negative description thus. However, like I will say, on the positive side, they can be very sweet, they can also be generous, they can be very smart, very funny, very fun to hang out with. But that flip side, you gotta duck when necessary. Next group, and the last group, next and last. I don't know why I'm doing this, just to cut up the monotony. The next and last group would be earth signs. There's nothing bad about earth signs. They just tend to be a little predictable, a little bit like not great for a Gemini. Not really a bad thing necessarily. I have had a long-term relationship with a Taurus once, and I was very young, and that's all I can say about that. I don't currently know any. I don't currently have any Taurian friends. Maybe that says something. I'm not sure. My grandmother was a Taurus. She was very sweet, very sort of quiet-esque, not drama in anything anyway, so that was a good thing. Very regular. And from a child's point of view, that was great. So I don't know what more I can say about that. I've never had anything really adverse with the Taurus. Like an adverse experience, like a terrible experience, an unpleasant experience, a traumatic experience, none of those things. So that would be Taurus. The next would be Virgo. Now, Virgo has a lot of qualities similar to the Taurus. They're go-getters. They like nice things. So does the Gemini. They can be meticulous and keep things neat and clean, and they just have that very similar way of being in the world that the Gemini does. But they're not anything like the Gemini in terms of being light, airy, fun in the same way. Not that they're not fun, but they have a seriousness to them. A almost always focused purpose to everything they do, even in relationships. So they will take on a relationship with you if there's some benefit. They also can be very helpful, so they'll help you. They will so-called fix you, help make you better. And that is not altogether a bad thing. Not something the Gemini necessarily needs, or to be critiqued, because they tend to critique you. It's just their way. That's my experience. It may or may not be true. I'm just talking from a Gemini point of view. Last but not least, Capricorn. They are by far my least favorite sign. This does not mean that I don't hang out with them, I don't talk to them, I can't laugh with them, we can't party together, and you know how that goes. I would not deliberately date a Capricorn. So if I were to find out you were a Capricorn, I'd probably be like, oh, nice to meet you, and talk to you for a bit, but I wouldn't really pursue it. They're just not the sign that gets my interest too much. They're very ambitious. There's nothing wrong with that. But they tend to be a bit predictable. They tend to be very much about business. And I don't mean business like necessarily work kind of business, but the business of life. They're about the business of life. Everything is about the business of life, getting better, getting ahead. And they're just busy with that. They can be fun, but their focus is really like, I gotta do something, and if you cannot help me do something, then I really don't have a use for you. That's my experience. So we went through them all. Compatibility, in a very sort of like light, general way, not like in terms of specifically to love and relationships. We can do that. But this time, I'm just talking about in general. The signs that I find rather easy to get along with and that I prefer to hang out with. Once again, I will say, all in all, Gemini can hang out with anybody. Gemini can really chit chat with anybody. Say, hey, how's it going? You know, you having a good day? Is there anything I can do? Gemini is really just one sign that connects with all walks of life for whatever reason, whatever the occasion calls for. They can adapt and they can make a way to connect with you. Well, 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 the Gemini experience continues through the subtext of Gemini Speaks. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening. And I hope you took something out of what I had to say. If you didn't, next time, I hope you will. Okay, till next time. Peace. Gemini speaks, Gemini speaks. Boom, 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 boom.